I'd like to welcome everybody to the Buffalo History Channel, and this will also be showing on Urban Legacy Filmworks YouTube channel as well as on the Urban Legacy Filmworks Facebook page. It is my honor to have join us today the one and only Cariol Horne. Cariol, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, I see you have been a very busy woman as of late.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I want to definitely say just from the outset that I've known about your story for quite some time, and I'm very, very glad to finally see your story finally getting put out there to the public and getting the attention that it so well deserves.
Yeah, I am also.
Okay. Okay. I want to start from the beginning. It's always good to start from the beginning and get a kind of foundation to everything. You were a Buffalo police officer.
Yes.
I'd like to know, tell our audience, first off, what was it that inspired you to want to become a Buffalo police officer, and when did you join the police force?
Yeah, I joined, I signed in for the first day, February 29th, 1988, which was a leap year. So we used date of March 1st, 1988. I became a police officer simply because I passed the test. I had two young sons, and my son's father said, he suggested that I take the test. I took it, passed it, and that's the reason why. Although I wanted to get into a job to where I can help people,
Right.
I wanted nursing. That's what I wanted to do, but I was more of a logical thinker, so I was into like writing computer programs at first, but I didn't realize how much money that could make me, so I didn't stick with that at the time anyway.
Yeah, that's the case with a lot. I know that's the case with a lot of people. I talked with Ted Kirkland and remember interviewing him for the Riot documentary, and he told me that he got on the force back in the day because he was basically looking for a job. So many times, sometimes it's inspiration. Other times you're just looking for work and looking for a way to feed your family.
Yeah, at that time, I think they were looking to hire more black people anyway because of a lawsuit that Ted Kirkland and other guys from the AAP had filed.
So did you work close when you were a police officer? You worked closely with the Afro-American Police Association and everything?
Well, I actually was in it, but it really was not an organization that helped black officers. It was more of a social organization.
Okay. All right. And before I jump right towards the initial case, were there any memories from being a police officer where something that can jump out at you, where you actually helped someone, or was there any like a specific case or anything that you solved, or where you got someone out of trouble?
I mean, there have been people that came up to me and told me that I arrested them, but I was fair to them, stuff like that. But I don't remember all of that. They come tell me that. So sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I really arrested you, but I mean, it's good to hear that some people would say that, but I mean, as far as anything that jumped out at me, I remember a call being on with Greg Kwiatkowski, where there was a white older lady that had her purse stolen. So I remember, I don't think we got the purse back, but she wrote a letter basically saying how she liked the treatment that she got and how we seemed concerned and everything. So the reason that sticks out at me is because, when one breath he's beating on people and in another breath he's helping, older white women. You know what I mean? Not that he wouldn't have helped the older black woman. I don't know, but in this particular case, it was just a white woman.
Okay. And you mentioned, because you mentioned who your partner was, let's go right to that case. What was the incident with Neil Mack? What was the date of that case? Do you remember?
November 1st, 2006.
November 1st, 2006.
The day after Halloween. Yep.
Wow. And I was thinking back to that case, and just the date of the whole thing and the name of Neil Mack. And I think that date is very, very important and significant because we've said a lot of people's names throughout these years. We've said the name of Sandra Bland. We've said the names of, today we're saying the name of Breonna Taylor, who we're still waiting for actual prosecution for.
Mhm.
We've said the names of Corin Gaines and then George Floyd, and so many names. And this date of November 1st, 2006, that predates Trayvon Martin. That predates the election of Barack Obama. It's like, wow, the name of Neil Mack should have been said first.
If he said that day that he couldn't breathe.
Exactly. Eric Garner, tell for anybody that is not aware, take us back to when you received that call on.
Okay, before I do that, I got a question for you.
Yes.
Okay, for you being a mailman,
Yes.
if you a call of a dispute over mail, what are you instructed to do?
What we're instructed to do is we have to direct them to our office if they have a complaint about mail. Mainly depending on the nature of the complaint. If like somebody has their mail stolen or anything like that, we direct them. The main thing we do is we direct them to talk to the main head post office or the head office.
Okay, so I mean, do you think the Buffalo police should get involved, or would that be a separate?
That would really be separate. I mean, we have a police force within the post office. We have postal officers that we direct them to.
Okay, so the dispute was over mail.
Okay.
And so that was how the call started from the very beginning. His ex-girlfriend was there, and she claimed that her check came in the mail. She no longer lived there. So the postal worker flagged down the police, and then that's how the police got involved.
Okay.
So then after they told him to go get the mail, he said he didn't have a check from her. Then he gave them what mail he had, and they told him to go get the mail. But I guess he tossed the mail. So when he tossed the mail, because he kept telling them he didn't have it, then they were upset because he tossed the mail at him. So then he tried to close his door, and then they pushed the door in. Bottom line, they get into, um, they start fighting with him to arrest him for what, I don't know, but I guess tossing mail. And then they realized that his sons, because once his sons heard the commotion,
right,
then when his sons came out, and I guess that's when they figured they were going to lock him up, and they didn't know he had his sons in the house. So anyway, that's when the officer in trouble call came out at some point, and so that's what I was responding to. So I wasn't responding to the initial call of mail. I was responding to the officer in trouble call.
So your partner got there first, basically. The other officer got there first, basically.
We were in one-man cars, so we didn't have partners.
Right. Okay.
So I guess there was the first officer that got flagged down, and then there was the lieutenant who was the second officer on scene, and those were the first two to initiate any type of response after that. So anyway, we get the call. So when I get there, of course, I don't know who's there. I don't know what happened. Only thing I know is that it was an officer in trouble call. I get in there. I see Greg Kwiatkowski punching Neil Mack in the face, who's handcuffed. Neil Mack is handcuffed in the front, and he's being punched in the face by Gregory Kwiatkowski. Neil Mack says that he says, "They beat me. I can't breathe." So then the officer in front of me, reached his hand out to say, "Greg, let me get him." He said, "Let me cuff him in the back," because that's the procedure. Cuffing him in the front is not standard procedure. So then when he did that, then Greg kept punching him and basically saying, "This MFer won't listen," or something to that effect. So then he stepped back. The officer that volunteered to cuff him in the back stepped back, and he let me know that there was pepper spray that had been sprayed. So I stepped back because I didn't want to come in contact with the pepper spray. So then at some point, Greg swung Neil Mack towards the door where we were, and then we got him outside. And once he got outside, his leg got caught in the gate. After that, all the officers started dispersing, going to their cars. Greg just, while going to the car, just stopped and swung Neil Mack around, started choking him. So I yelled to him, "Greg, you're choking him." And he did not stop. So then that's when I grabbed his arm from around his neck. And after I did that, then that's when he came up and punched me in the face. So then we started arguing because I was ready to defend myself, but two officers came between us. Two officers pulled me back. Now, the story that they came up with was that I had jumped on his back. That was not the case. We were face to face and a suspect between us. There was no way I could have jumped on his back.
They just added something to the story, basically.
Because I said he pulled me back. They
Right.
pulled me back. I don't know, maybe using the word back gave them an idea of saying I jumped on his back. I don't know. But this is the same story that this one cop, the one cop that pulled me back, Ann Vanya, which she wound up getting, she had been arrested a couple times as a police officer, but she wound up getting fired for threatening the life of someone. This is after my case, though. But anyway, during that time, then she used the jump on the back scenario 3 times, 2 with me, another officer, and with a civilian. So I don't know who was the brainchild behind the jump on the back thing, but it was a lie. It never happened. So then after that, then the lieutenant ordered us back to the station house. I go back to, well, when I get in the car, I call the chief. I tell her he punched me in the face. She tells me to come back to the station. I said, well, the lieutenant already, he already ordered us back. So we go back to the station. I go in telling the chief what happened. The lieutenant comes in and says that I jumped on Greg's back, which I said, no, that did not happen. How could I jump on his back when there's him facing me and a suspect between us? So I show her with the chair, what I was talking about. And they went on with the jump on the back story anyway. And that is why I got fired, because the lieutenant helped formulate a lie. So then I had a torn rotator cuff, and also I had to have my bridge replaced.
Okay.
And I still, to this day, this is why I let my hair be wild like this. If I have it up too long, I'll get migraines still.
I see. And now, afterwards, you took action to. I can remember, seeing the news reports, because I remember the first time I heard about it was through many of the news reports, and And I remember you did the interview on Kirkland's show when he had given you the award, and there was issues with that. Can you talk to us about? I mean, at least I'm not sure what legalities are involved between what you can talk about and what you can't talk about. So you can let me
That's
know.
what I can't talk about. I won't.
Okay. Um, what was the aftermath with all the legal proceedings that took place upon that?
I was fired. I
Mm,
was fired and accused of jumping on his back, which never happened.
okay.
He went with when they went to the um, Buffalo Police Department went to the Buffalo News, had a office on the second floor of the police um,
Okay.
headquarters. When they went and they told their lies, which was lies, when they told this story, I went to the Buffalo News office to correct them. They said that I jumped on his back. And that's when this captain, who had nothing to do with nothing, he told them, he came to my hearing and testified that I told him that I jumped on Gregory Kwiatkowski's back. Gregory Kwiatkowski says that I did not jump on his back, which I didn't. But here you have, this is how the system works. You have someone who has nothing to do with anything who decides, you know what, I'll be the one to go and tell a lie.
Mhm.
Sure, I'll do it. And that's what he did. So then when I went on to public access show to tell the truth about what happened, they brought me up on 3 more charges because they said it was a pending investigation. But I couldn't understand how it was a pending investigation if they had already brought charges. But that's just how they roll.
Okay.
So anyway, after that, I was fired. He was promoted to where he
Wow.
continued, even choking a another police officer who was on job. He was on duty.
Yeah,
He
'cause I did hear that there were more. There were after his promotion, there were more situations that happened with him. He either now is in jail or he wasn't put in jail.
Yeah, he eventually was brought up on federal charges after 14s were pulled over, and they one was shot with a BB gun. Uh, the other ones, he testified in federal court that he smashed their heads against the police car while they were cuffed, and he basically just when asked why did he lie in PSD hearings, he said because he did not want to get in trouble.
Mhm.
As if I wanted to get in trouble for them lying in my PSD hearings. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
So anyway, so there was a lot that went on, but the Buffalo police continue to not hold officers accountable. They continue, just like in Marty Gugino, the white man, the 75-year-old white man that was pushed over. Um, and then you had a bad cop rally after that. And at the bad cop rally,
That's what I want to talk to you. I definitely want to talk about that because I know before that because I know you tried for years to fight back on that case, and I know you were trying to get they held up your pension and everything. And jumping forward to early this summer, there was it started off as a rally for George Floyd
Mhm.
back towards the end of May of this year. Then all of a sudden, almost like a Buffalo uprising ensued. And for me personally, I produced a documentary on the 1967 Buffalo riot. And for me to see that just completely blew my mind. I did not see that coming. I'm thinking it's going to be out because I've been to many of these rallies in Buffalo, and people
Mhm.
pray and sing and talk and whatever, and then they go back to business as usual. But there was definitely something different
It
about
definitely
this
was.
one.
Number one, it was it was George Floyd. They kind of, I think from COVID and George Floyd,
Yes.
you know, then, after George Floyd, people were like outraged. Like, why would those cops stand by and do nothing? And some people, whatever, they were like, remember that cop in Buffalo? She got fired for
Yeah.
doing. And that's how this came all about. Again, it's always something that brings it about, but this really brought it about. And I had always wanted to figure out a way to solve the problem. And that is how it came up with Cariols Law. And so
What is
back,
Cariols Law?
hmm?
What is Cariols Law?
Cariols Law is a law that will hold police accountable. There will not ever be another George Floyd if there were other officers there to stop it. If
Absolutely.
we have Cariols Law, because number one, it would be a duty to intervene, and there will be punishment if an officer did not intervene. There will be a registry. So I would like to put it on, have it on the federal level. So there will be a registry for officers if they are fired because of Cariols Law, for not intervening. There would be restorative justice. So someone like myself, I didn't want it to happen to another officer if they stood up and did the right thing. So there would be restorative justice for someone if they did go through what I'm going through. So they would get back everything that was due to them.
Right.
And there was one more thing because there's 6 elements of it.
Okay.
I'll probably think of it as we talk, but
Yeah.
but either way it goes, it holds the officers' accountability. Oh, and also, with the collective bargaining agreement, you know, um, someone from like Cariols Law, the Cariols Law team or whatever, would be in on those talks. So anyway, there are the problem is police brutality, and the solution is Cariols Law. And it's just common sense. If we want to hold officers accountable, then that's what we need to do. It's like a no-brainer, so, why it hasn't been adopted, I don't know, but we're still working on it. And
Okay.
we're working on it in more than just Buffalo.
Okay. Now that Martin Gugino case where that man was pushed, and I somehow I remember in the back of my mind when I saw that, the minute something happened to a white person out there, I knew things were just going to get escalated even higher, and it did. I mean, you had Ice Cube and everybody commenting on that. That thing
Yep.
went around the world. But there was the next day, I think it was the next day, that those officers whenever they were arraigned, I remember seeing a video on Facebook of you going down there with your camera phone, and you went into a sea of officers and by yourself, and they looked at you like, I remember you, aren't you fired, and you're a traitor and all of this, and they started doing chants on you and everything, and you were there. I mean, I was literally getting angry sitting back here at my home in Maryland,
The people,
watching that. I mean, that is just unbelievable. I had to show it to a few coworkers and friends of mine out here. You will not believe what's going. This is what goes on in the city of Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
Can you take us back to that moment from your perspective being out there?
Yeah, I actually had just got finished doing a radio interview with Betty Jean Grant and her daughter,
I
Sherry.
saw that too.
So I got a phone call that they were having a rally in support of the officers who were being brought up on charges. I was like, are you serious? I'm going to go down there. So I was driving towards that way anyway. So I drove down there, and I was like floored at how many people were there.
Wow.
You had a few Black ones that were sparsely scattered around. But when I got there, I was like taunted. But
Buffalo Police. I was fired. We're stopping. We're stopping.
but it was more important for me to show the mentality of these people than for me to get upset and stop filming and just leave. So they were like, they had covers. So I like equated it to them covering up, all the bad stuff that they do. I said, they literally have covers. Like, this is what they do when they cover up stuff on the police department. So it was like they were so ignorant, and because they felt like they had a brotherhood there to back them up, back up, that they could like bully me out of there, and I was like, nah, it's more important for me to show their mentality.
I think if I'm not mistaken, you had one in there. I remember seeing that saying that, "Hey, I'm married to a black woman," as if that makes
Yeah, the thing
any
about
one
it,
bit difference.
he was also at the Trump rally.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I bet he was.
the thing about it is these cops you would think are just like cool people. Some of them are cool people. I would have just thought of him as being a cool person, but they have this deep-seated racism in them. And then you had a few black ones that were there, so they are like they just want to be accepted. They'll never be accepted. It's like let them not show up. So I mean, I feel like some of the officers just that, well, a lot of them have mental issues themselves, and that's not. You only get a mental evaluation when you first come on the job, and then if you know somebody, you don't get on anyway. So um, that was a eye opener for a lot of people. The stuff that I already knew, but for people to actually see it and to hear it and see um, that they were doing it without provocation. So it was just how they are.
When,
That to me during the day on camera, just think what they do to some of our black young men and women at night when it's not on camera.
of course, and there have been many examples of that.
Exactly.
Young brother Quentin Suttles was,
There was another one the other day,
I
um, 2 days ago.
believe that
Uh,
was Eric Martin's son. I know I've heard something about
right, that was a different one.
a
I
good
think
different one.
Martin's son was in Amherst, I believe it was.
Okay.
There was another one in Buffalo with the same district, C district. C district is horrible. And so there was a little rally in front of C district yesterday, and the officers were basically saying, no, you got to see the whole thing, that pretty much that they were the officers were justified. The officers are not justified in beating someone. If the guy had a gun, your job is to make sure you're safe and to get that gun. you know but he had a swollen eye. Why are you worried about his eye if he has a gun? So you should be trying to get the gun. Like, punching him in the eye does not hold his hands to where he can't shoot you if he really has a gun. So there's a lot of questions that I have, and they took the video down, but I got screenshots of the pictures before they took it down. And just like Quentin Suttles, there's an officer, a white officer over him. Just like Quentin Suttles, his eye is smashed in right there at the scene. It didn't even take, like hours or whatever to turn black, and it's already like that at the scene.
Now,
Wow, he's while he's still supposedly trying to get the gun from him. Like, how are you trying to? He's trying to get the officer on top is so calm, and the officer on the bottom is just. He's got a gun, and really, he's got a gun. You would be worried about snatching him up and grabbing the gun. So I don't know if the officer had his gun and dropped it or what. They claim the guy had a gun, but the guy was on parole. So it's their story against whatever he said. Because the dude said in the video, I don't have a gun, I got crack. Nobody's gonna tell you that they got crack if they really got a gun. You know, they're gonna be like, okay, the gun is up. So I don't believe he had a gun, but because he's on parole, it's whatever they say. So I'm sure, and I know that cops carry burner guns. So I mean, I know they did. So it wouldn't surprise me if they're still doing it.
Right.
So pin the gun on him doesn't surprise me.
And I know I remember seeing a video where I think it was one of your sons or something, and then you drove up to the scene to give us. I forgot. I remember seeing.
Yeah. So those were the same officers that planted the weed in my case. So now they're planting weed, and now they're beating on somebody who they say have a gun. But you were more worried about punching his eye out than making sure you get the gun.
Wow. Now I know for your situation, you've been getting throughout all of this. You've been getting a groundswell of support, not just from the Buffalo area. Nationally, you had an appearance on the Breakfast Club, and
that was the one that did it. Once they hit the Breakfast Club, it was like everybody else started calling, even CNN.
Yeah. Certainly glad to see it. And also I remember seeing a wonderful concert that was put on for you.
Yeah.
Drea.
Yep, Drea. Yeah, that was beautiful.
Talk to us about the support that you've gotten from everyone.
Well, you kind of just said it, you know.
Said it? Okay.
It's been a lot of support. And then people want me to, like, I even went to Geneva, New York to speak at their protest. You know, it's like ain't got paid for it. So it's like, you know, to get paid for something that I would do for free was like excellent. So that's when you know it's not. People say get a job that you love because it's not like work.
Yeah.
This would be it. So I am writing a book. Charlemagne hooked me up with his publicist.
Good.
So get them a outline. There have been film producers who have also contacted me and suggested I get a entertainment lawyer, which is what I have to do.
Yeah,
so
that would be, yes, absolutely.
You know one. So those are things that have come out of this that I have to still follow up on. But like interview after interview, I've had a lot of interviews.
Yeah. And I think this whole situation, you know, particularly going back to the whole thing with the uprising back earlier this summer, I was telling that to some people out here, some folks out here in Maryland. You know, this whole thing is really, between this and even your case, it's really causing Buffalo to really come face to face with some of the ghosts of its race demons from its past, some racist demons from its past. And I think I don't know if I call it a necessary evil, but it's necessary.
It's not the past. You still have racist people. Yeah. And then you have Black people who are just as confused. So
right. It's always that.
Yeah, so it's not just the past. We're still dealing with a lot of stuff that the issue should have been taken care of decades ago. It hasn't.
Okay, so I won't keep you too much longer. What are some of your with Cariols Law and, you know, getting the word out there? Is there anything else that you'd like to say, like what's going what you're currently involved in, and if people want more information on Cariols Law, where basically where are we going from here?
All right, you can go to cariolslaw.com. That's the website. There's all the information on Cariols Law there, and contact information.
Okay.
So if you go there, that would be excellent. And like I said, I want it to be a federal law, but we can start with each state. So that's something that I'm working on also, just to get the message out at each state. I think it was last week in Maine, they were speaking about Cariols Law. And so if we can, like I said, we can get it to each state. Hopefully we can get it past the federal level at at some point.
Okay. And is in terms of getting, they're still working on. I think I heard something about the AG is looking at the case with your pension.
Well, the AG, she agreed that it should be looked into, but then she well, I have attorneys now.
Okay.
So one of the attorneys that I have, well, I have four of them. It's a Harvard and also Kirkland and Ellis law firm. One of the attorneys was counsel to President Obama, co-counsel with President Clinton. And then there's also Harvard Law School. So I have a great team. And also one of the attorneys also worked on the settlement for the Michael Brown case. So I feel like I'm in very good hands.
Looks to me like you are, and we'll be following the case, and we'll be looking to hear more from this as well. And I certainly wish you well on this journey. It's a wonderful thing that it's finally getting the attention that it should have gotten a very, very long time ago.
Yep. So hopefully there'll be a resolution soon, but resolution would also be Cariols Law, because then that could prevent a lot of things that are happening now from happening again.
Absolutely.
So we need some.
But it's been good to have you on, Cariol. It's good to see you again.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, I'll be back. I'm planning to be back in Buffalo next month, so hopefully we'll cross paths with you somewhere, hopefully.
All right. Well, I'm here.
All righty.